Hidden deep between mountains lay a breathtaking valley. Everywhere, blue and white flowers bloomed. Birds sang sweet melodies on the trees, and at the center, a spring flowed, its water shimmering like silver under the moonlight. The locals called it the Valley of Secrets because it was said that every traveler who entered would be shown their greatest hidden truth. However, few actually wanted to reveal their secrets, so most people just enjoyed the view from afar without going in. One day, two friends, Henry and Isabella, arrived in the area. After a long journey, they were tired and hungry. But when they saw the marvelous valley, they immediately forgot about their fatigue. "Henry, look at this place. It feels like paradise," Isabella exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "Let's go there quickly." Henry nodded, smiling. Although he was skeptical about the valley's magic, he knew how much it meant to Bella. They set off, and after a while they heard sweet singing. As they got closer, the singing grew louder. It seemed to come from somewhere near the spring. When they reached the clearing, they saw a woman sitting on a nearby rock. She sang sadly while strumming a small harp. Her voice echoed through the valley, touching their hearts. "Hello," Isabella called out politely. The woman stopped singing and looked up. When she saw them, she got up, revealing an elegant white dress beneath her cloak. Then she smiled warmly. "Greetings, travelers. My name is Ilara. Care to sit and rest a while?" "Thank you," Isabella replied, taking a seat. "We're so tired after our long journey, and your singing was so enchanting that we couldn't help but stop by." Ilara nodded understandingly and asked, "Are you also amazed by the beauty of this valley?" "Indeed," Henry answered. "It's even more wonderful than the stories say. If only the world could be like this place, peaceful and beautiful." Ilara smiled sadly. "Ah, you've heard the stories about this valley. They say it's full of magic. Each rock, each flower is touched by enchantment." "That's right," Isabella added. "They say whoever drinks water from the wishing spring will have their biggest wish granted." Ilara sighed. "So many wishes are made here, yet not all of them are pure. Some seek only selfish desires or wish for harm to befall others. Can you guess why the spring doesn't grant them?" Henry thought for a moment. "Is it because the spring only grants wishes that are good for the person making them?" "Exactly," Ilara praised. "But you seem different. I can sense kindness and purity in your hearts. You wouldn't use the spring's magic for evil, would you?" Henry and Isabella shook their heads. "No, of course not," Isabella exclaimed. "We would never do that," Ilara smiled. "I believe you. In fact, I think the spring will show you something wonderful." "What do you mean?" Henry asked curiously. "The spring doesn't just grant wishes, it also reveals truths," Ilara explained. "It shows each person their greatest secret, their deepest desire, or a path to their future happiness. It calls it the mirror of truth." "Wow," breathed Isabella. "I thought these were just stories." Ilara nodded. "And now it's time for you to see yours." She led them to the edge of the lake. The surface of the water was calm, reflecting the surrounding beauty like a mirror. But the deeper they looked, the more they saw their own reflections. However, the images that appeared in the water weren't their own. First, Isabella saw a little girl playing happily in the valley. Beside her was a woman with kind eyes, watching over her with a smile. But then the scene shifted suddenly. The little girl grew older, her smile fading away. Her eyes became clouded with sadness. The woman cried out, calling the girl's name desperately. "Isabella," Henry whispered, alarmed. "That's you, isn't it? Is everything all right?" Startled, Isabella looked away from the spring. She saw a middle-aged woman standing before her. Though her face was unfamiliar, something about her seemed oddly familiar. Isabella's heart raced. She didn't recognize the woman or the young girl in the reflection. But the longing and sadness in their eyes stirred a deep ache within her. With trembling lips, she whispered, "Henry, I don't understand. Who are they? Why am I feeling this way?" As if sensing her confusion, the woman in the reflection reached out a hand, her eyes pleading for recognition. It was a gesture so heartbreaking that tears welled up in Isabella's eyes. Before Henry could respond, the image in the spring shifted again. This time he saw himself reflected, not as a child, but as an adult. He was surrounded by friends and family, laughing and playing. Then the scene changed abruptly. A dark figure stood where he should have been, his face hidden in the shadows. The figure turned away, revealing a wound on his arm. But it wasn't a cut or a bruise. It was a mark left by a bird, a sign of a peculiar curse that had befallen the man. Henry gasped. He, too, felt an overwhelming sense of loss and despair, as if something precious had been taken from him. Panic surged through him. He understood now why he had felt compelled to visit this valley. His deepest regret, the reason he had abandoned his home all those years ago, was tied to this place. With a determined nod, he cupped some water in his hands and brought it to his lips. "I must know the truth," he murmured, his voice echoing the urgency in his heart. As the water touched his tongue, visions flooded his mind. He saw a young boy clinging to a tree branch, fear etched on his face. The boy was surrounded by strange creatures with sharp beaks and claws, their menacing shadows looming over him. Suddenly, a hand reached out and pulled the boy to safety. Henry recoiled, his heart pounding. He recognized the boy in the vision. It was him. Yet not him. The vision faded, leaving behind a profound emptiness. Henry stumbled back, his mind reeling. The answer he had sought was both terrifying and liberating. For the first time, he understood the truth behind his existence, the curse that had driven him away from his family and his home. He wasn't merely an ordinary traveler. He was a descendant of a long line of warriors, destined to protect the balance between humans and mythical creatures. The mark on his arm wasn't a burden, but a symbol of his heritage. Overwhelmed with emotion, he turned to Isabella. In her eyes, he saw not pity or fear, but understanding and support. Together, they faced the reality of Henry's extraordinary lineage, ready to navigate the challenges that lay ahead. But then the valley started to change. The flowers wilted, the birds flew away, and the spring turned murky. "What's happening?" Isabella cried out, her voice laced with alarm. The vibrant colors of the valley drained away, replaced by a somber gray. The lively singing of birds was replaced by an eerie silence. The gentle rustling of leaves became a mournful whisper. "You've unlocked your truths," Alara's voice echoed through the desolate valley. "Now your journey begins. Remember, the valley's magic is tied to your beliefs. If you leave with faith, the valley will remain unchanged. But doubt or disbelief can cause its wonders to fade." With these words, the forest grew darker, the path ahead becoming unclear. Henry and Isabella exchanged a worried glance. The valley they had admired moments before was now shrouded in mist and shadow. Fear threatened to consume them, whispering doubts about their journey and their choices. Suddenly, the sound of their own footsteps echoed through the gloom. It was as if the valley itself was guiding them out of the shadows. Taking a deep breath, Henry and Isabella held each other's hands tightly, their steps firm as they moved forward together. After what felt like hours, they emerged from the misty depths to find themselves on a familiar path. The sun shone brightly, dispelling the lingering darkness. Looking back, they saw the entrance to the valley hidden behind a curtain of mist. It was as though the magical place had retreated into itself, waiting for new explorers. "Do you believe me now?" Henry asked, turning to Isabella. His voice was filled with awe and a hint of triumph. Isabella nodded slowly, still shaken by the transformation. "Yes, I believe you. But why did the valley turn dark? Was it because of our doubts?" Henry squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Perhaps. But we made it out, didn't we? That's what matters." They continued their journey, leaving the enigmatic valley behind them. The experience had brought them closer together, bound by a shared sense of wonder and a deeper understanding of themselves. Yet as they walked, they couldn't help but glance back at the hidden path, wondering if the Valley of Secrets would reveal its magic to others as it had to them.